Bluff City Media presents the 2 Buck Sports Show with your hosts, Rusty Buckets and Uncle Buck. Now, let's get to the show.
What's up, everybody, man? Happy Wednesday. Life is back as it's supposed to be because I got my guy Drew Gann here with me. A. B. We are live at 11 a.m. Central on Bluff City Media's YouTube channel. Drew, man, it's been a long week without you being live. I know we pre-recorded for earlier in the week, so good to have you, buddy. How are you today?
I'm good. Appreciate Wayno and Jared hopping on yesterday, kind of last minute with Rusty. Just had work stuff come up. Had somebody with me all day yesterday. Was not able to get away, and so that's just kind of comes with the territory a little bit. But I'm really kind of angry at Jared and Wayno, too, for not just letting you on this island and figuring it out, you know, going full Pate State on us, solo show in this thing. And,
we were doggy paddling in the beginning. We were figuring it out.
And you had to call in the reinforcements. And so appreciate you having reinforcements available, though. Always shout out to those two guys.
I appreciate it. I guarantee you, because all my other bat signals went lost, and so I thought, well, we're going to do a 30-minute rambling show. And then Wayno and I'm trying to the hardest part of yesterday was trying to do a solo show and get a link to Wayno so that he could hop in, because I'm sending it to him in WhatsApp and it's not working, and I'm talking about the Grizzlies and the videos, and then I'm trying to send it, so I finally ended up sending it on Facebook Messenger to get it to him so he could get in, all the while running a solo show. Afterwards, Drew, as soon as the camera went off, and Jared got out of the studio, I just went
yeah,
I was tired, but my brain was
impresses
done.
me. You know, there's been times where I've thought, if Rusty was going, I think I may try my hand at just seeing what it's like, to see what it's like. Not that I would ever want to replace you or do a solo show.
No,
I just want to see what it's like, just to do like Paul Feinbaum, God help him, he's doing a 3-hour show, but
Lord.
he gets to rely on callers, and how people do that is beyond me.
Listen, man, I will give it maybe a 3 out of 10. Would not recommend. There's no shot of me interrupting myself unless I let the voices in my head just have their way, which I have in the past. But other than that, 0 out of 10. Like I said, maybe a 3 at most out of 10.
Yeah.
Would not recommend. So big shout out to the boys for hopping in to help me out yesterday. But Drew, it is Wednesday, and on Wednesdays we start our show every single week the same way with our real versus counterfeit segment.
That's right. It's our Wednesday edition of the 2 Buck Sports Show. The first segment is always for some tomfoolery, and on Wednesdays we do real versus counterfeit. That's where Rusty or I, we team up, take turns. We throw the other one a take or a comment, and we just say if that's real or counterfeit. And lots of truths being revealed coming up right now. So Rusty, you've got the topic today. Lob it to me.
I will. Real quick, just want to give everybody in the comments a shout out. Jalen, Keemeeks, Wayno, Edward. It means a lot that y'all choose to spend your lunch break, your 11 a.m. time slot, Wayno 3:30 a.m. in Sydney in the future. But y'all's time with us, we really, really appreciate it. It means a lot. So if y'all are on X perusing by, if this is your first time, give us a thumbs up, an emoji. Let us know you're here. We'd love to know that you're hanging out with us, and chop it up with the guys as we start talking about sports in a few minutes. But if you're a long-time listener to the show, like Drew said, it's buffoonery before we get there. And Drew, I have a statement that I think you and I are going to be on opposite sides of, and I'm excited for the debate. Real or counterfeit, Halloween yard decor is better than Christmas yard decor.
Yeah, we are absolutely going to be on opposite sides, and not even close. We're going to have to agree right now and shake hands that we'll remain friends after this.
Absolutely.
Because Halloween is the most overrated holiday of all time. I don't get it. There's no... if you're in college, it's one thing when everybody's throwing a kegger and everybody brings out their Halloween costumes. That's fun. For me, it's a kid's Halloween. It's a kid's holiday now where... it is, okay, what am I getting excited about? I have to spend $200 on kids' costumes and then use one of the best weather days of the whole year, lugging them around to neighborhoods, to strangers' houses, so they can collect candy from people that I don't know or trust. And I'm just not a man of the macabre. if you want to title the show, that's a great title. I'm not a man of the macabre. I don't like scary movies. I don't like haunted houses. I prefer to not have to change my drawers after doing things that you call fun. That's just not my style. And on the other hand, Christmas is literally the season of joy, and I decorate my Christmas tree on November the 1st. We're pulling it out. We got Santas and reindeers, and I am a man that just loves Christmas, the joy that is Christmas. If you think of the theme of Christmas, it's joy and happiness. You think of the theme of Halloween, it's spooky and scary and devil.
Yes.
Like I'm not that guy, and I can't be that guy.
I'm not arguing. The statement is not which holiday is better. It's simply the decor factor. So I'll give you that. Yes, Christmas is the season of joy and giving, and you're nothing if not jolly. I'll give you that. But
you've got the rosy cheeks.
I'm like Jalen here. It feels like Christmas decor is basic. Everybody's got a nativity. Everybody's got a blow up snowman. Everybody will have, the icicle lights on their eaves or a big green wreath. Like all the decor is the same. But my new job, I love it, by the way. Sidebar for those of you who hadn't talked to in a while. Absolutely love the new gig. But it has me out and about driving through Memphis a lot. And I cut through back roads and neighborhoods and stuff to get to doctor's offices. And man, Halloween decor is uber creative. There's a house in Germantown that has a whole Pirates of the Caribbean themed, like haunted scene in their front yard. There's a 20-foot skeleton on Alturia Road in Bartlett.
There are 20-foot skeletons everywhere. Yes. They apparently put those on sale at Walmart because they're everywhere.
But there is one out in Arlington that has a set of chrome truck nuts hanging off the pelvis. I did see that the other day, which was really funny.
That's pretty funny.
But like all the Christmas decor is kind of the same, but like you see Halloween, each one's different. There's a Grim Reaper, or there's one right here on White Station that's the Peanuts. It's the Peanuts Halloween, and it's just warming. Like I love looking at Christmas lights. Lights are great, but like Halloween is so much more creative in what you can do and have different themes across the neighborhood. Now Jalen brought it a few minutes ago. He said the Caucasians in Bartlett, the caucasity of what we put in our front yards, I get can sometimes be a bit overwhelming. But as far as creative, like yard decor, give me Halloween.
Yeah, somebody that's I would like to hear the opinion of somebody that's not white when it comes to Halloween, because I feel like this is a white-dominated culture. Like, maybe it's the reverberations of the black people always dying first in horror movies that they just I don't know that do they appreciate Halloween the same way that white people do?
Jalen agrees with me. He said, fact, when I was talking about Halloween, he says Halloween is greater than Christmas easily. Edward's calling you out for some kids talking about Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine.
Like, you can so much more you can do with Halloween. Like, I love. Like,
I think you have narrowed your, Halloween decorations and Christmas decorations are the same in the fact that you can make it what you want to make it. If you want to be basic and throw your cobwebs up and throw a, jack-o'-lantern out there, that's basic. Everybody's going to have that. Christmas lights is the thing. You can do your icicle lights or your string lights, and that's what I do at my house, or your nativity scene. But you can also blow it out at Christmas as well. Sure. Like, I've seen crazy stuff.
But you don't see Christmas it quite as much at Drew.
Wow.
Breaking news.
Yeah, so you want to cut in with this?
Go ahead.
Huge NBA breaking news. Russell Westbrook has signed, finally, a week and a half before the season starts, or a week before the season starts, with the Sacramento Kings. I don't know how in the world it took that long for him to get signed.
This felt like the most known thing in the NBA for the longest time. Like he was going to get signed. B, it's felt like the Kings for several weeks now because it just kept getting leaked that that's the direction he was going. And so why did it take all the way to like mid-October? I don't know. I mean, Westbrook's why?
Because he was hoping somebody else would call.
Anybody but Sacramento.
Like, why in the world Milwaukee wouldn't want Russell Westbrook is beyond me. Who's going to play point guard for them?
And I think that's what he was holding out for, was to play with Giannis. And why wouldn't you? But
Yeah.
Anyway, breaking news: Russell Westbrook is a Sacramento King. But back to what we're saying, like, yes, people can blow out, and some do. Dr. Frazier, if you're in Corinth, go to downtown Corinth. Dr. Frazier does it really big. He broadcasts Christmas movies on his house, and there's a radio station that syncs with his lights, and it's a big production. But to me, like, the norm is just throw up some lights, put a candy cane in the yard, call it a day.
But it's just, to me, it's about the season. Like, we can argue decorations, but it's all just kind of what you prefer. I don't prefer Halloween. It's just not. It doesn't fit my personality. You were a Scrooge, so it makes sense that you would prefer Halloween.
No, I'm not a Scrooge.
I'm fat,
I like
jolly,
Christmas.
and love buying presents for people and making people happy. So I prefer Christmas.
I've already picked up your Christmas present. I've gotten some from like I'm not a Scrooge. Like I've already got Christmas presents like for people. I love buying Christmas presents. I just love, like, I like being scared. I like the adrenaline that comes with it. Like, and Jalen sees what we're doing here. I'm not talking about the holiday or the season. I'm talking about simply yard decor. And I think people are much more creative at Halloween with what they do and how big they go versus Christmas.
I also feel like Halloween is taken to another level in the last, like, 3 years.
That's fair. I do.
And maybe it's because I'm just noticing it because I'm now a homeowner in the last half
I
decade.
Definitely agree with that. I feel like over the last few years, like the creativity in Halloween decor has blown up.
Yeah,
sure.
It's not my cup of tea. You can say it's better or worse. I'm just giving you my opinion, and my opinion, Christmas is better.
That's what real versus counterfeit. That's the spirit of real versus counterfeit. Is we give what opinions are better.
You lob the opinion. The official ruling by me is counterfeit. And considering you're the one asking for my opinion, that is the show's stance.
It is not. That is counterfeit. That is the opinion of Drew Gann, not of Bluff City Media and or the 2 Buck Sports Show LLC QRS. Let us know in the comments. If you're watching this now, let us know. Do you like Halloween or Christmas decor better? I just talked about buying Christmas presents, brother. I got 2 of Maggie's being delivered tomorrow.
All I'm gonna say is that if you spook out yours and Maggie's houses and you don't put the first Christmas tree up in your yard, then I'm gonna pray for you, okay? Because you've done been taken by the devil.
So Maggie's we've got Halloween and fall decor out in her yard for sure. We've got it. She does.
I do love fall
tree.
Decor. I do love Thanksgiving.
She's got
decor.
like a ghost and a dog ghost and pumpkins and mums on her front stoop. It's really cute, and some spiders. It looks really good. But she does 2 Christmas trees. So there's a Grinch tree and then a regular tree. Mm-hmm. The Grinch tree is now, she used to do 2 artificials, but last year I bought a real tree, and that was the regular tree. There's a Grinch tree, but right now, and this is one of my favorite things she has. She puts up like a little small Halloween tree, and she has these wooden cutouts of like Hollywood horror movie villains. So it's like Chucky and Jason and Freddy and Saw and Michael Myers, and she decorates a Halloween tree. So not only does she do a Christmas tree, she does a Halloween tree. 10 out of 10.
See, that is just taking obviously, we conflate Christmas trees with, like, Jesus way too often, but that's taking Jesus' holiday and making it pagan is what you're doing. If you put the devil and scary blood and guts on Jesus' tree, like, oh my gosh.
The ultimate pagan tradition at Christmas is the Christmas tree, which is what's funny about that comment.
I get it.
But if y'all are watching this back, let us know. Halloween, Christmas decor, we want to know. That's our real versus counterfeit of the week. I'm
going to do every show in a Santa hat from the moment that we put up our Christmas tree till the first of the year.
Please. You heard it here first. Y'all holding to it here in the comments. Every day, because Drew's Christmas tree goes up before Thanksgiving. Every day, Santa hat.
It does.
But that's our real versus counterfeit segment of the week. We got a commercial break later in the show, but for now, we're going to be talking a little bit of basketball because we got a Grizzlies preseason game tonight, and then we're going to preview a team, Drew, that I think Grizzlies fans will be rooting for almost as much as they will the Grizzlies.
Welcome to segment 2 of the 2 Buck Sports Show, Wednesday edition of the show. I'd like to take this moment right now. Well, comments are going off. They love it when we yell at each other, and we also love it when we yell at each other. So if you want to get in these comments and hang out with all the cool kids, leavex.com and come over to YouTube. YouTube, search in the search bar, Bluff City Media, hit the red circle. That takes you to our show. Give us a thumbs up. Hop in the chat. If you are new and we recognize you for the first time, if you hop in this comment section and we do not recognize your name, we'll throw you up on the screen. We'll make you feel loved and come back because all the cool kids are over here. Rusty, you teased. Well, we'll get to the other team you said we're cheering for. I think
I was tongue in cheek, and I meant that. It's a team.
My second favorite team will be whatever team that team is playing.
That's what I'm getting at. Like
Yes.
rooting for meant rooting.
Destruction.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll get to that tonight. The Memphis Grizzlies play some more pretend basketball in Charlotte at the Hornets. This opened at a 1.5-point Hornets line. Right now on FanDuel.com, you can get the Hornets as a -4 home favorite over the Memphis Grizzlies. Drew, it's pretend basketball. I really don't care. But 15-plus points tonight. They project Ty Jerome to be our leading scorer. The money turns at 15 points. Plus 168 for Ty Jerome. Plus 172 for Jalen Wells. And plus 182 for Santiago Aldama. For the first time all season, Drew, on ESPN.com, they have listed Ja Morant as a game-time decision in the preseason with estimated return to play of today. Now, I don't know if that means he's going to play, but that's what ESPN.com. Not at all.
That's not sourced. Yeah.
Not at all, because Vince, Scotty, and Ja are all game-time decision, and so is Jaren. Estimated return date for Vince, Scotty, and Ja is today, and Jaren is October 22nd.
You want to know when Ja's estimated return date is?
October 22nd.
Opening night.
Agreed.
Listen, I can always say so many things about the preseason. Like, I want to be critical. The product I've seen on the court has merited critics for me. However, as I said on Monday's show, you either have to take this. There's only two schools of thought you can choose from talking about preseason. It doesn't matter, or it does matter, and you have to be critical because that's the product they're putting on the court. So you're a 4-point road underdog at Charlotte. If you are betting on this game, please do it on FanDuel.com. Also, we should put up the phone number for the hotline. Because preseason basketball, it is just such a crapshoot. And so, listen, what I hope to see is just rebounding. I'd love to see your other guys get some rebounds. Cedric Coward only had 1 rebound. Jalen Wells in the last game only had 1 or 2 rebounds. Same with Santi Aldama. They're just not rebounding, and I can project, based on what I've seen in this preseason, that we're going to struggle rebounding until Zach Edey gets back. We've got to have our guards and wings really put in an effort in rebounding. Obviously, Cedric Coward be good for a 4-quarter game, but yeah, I don't expect this team to be good. I do not expect a Grizzlies team without Ja and Jaren to be an obvious winning. It's not a winning recipe, even against teams like Charlotte. I don't think this team is good without Ja and Jaren. So I just need to see the other stuff.
Agreed. This team is built around them, and without them, it's going to be hard to get a ton of wins. It's not worth crashing out over preseason games, but there are things that could be considered yellow flags. I'll give you that. Just some warning signs of things that could come, and rebounding being one of them. Right now on FanDuel.com, Santi Aldama is the leading rebound getter in the game per FanDuel at plus 275 to record 8+ rebounds, minus 120 at 6+, minus 500 to record 4 or more rebounds. So Santi being the leading, no, and Santi being the leading rebounder. I mean, next guy is LaMelo Ball because he is a good rebounding guard. But I agree. Like, you need guys like Jock Landale and Cedric and Gigi, for all people, to go and get some rebounds and do some stuff productive when John Jaren off the court. It could be worse. We could be rooting for the Lakers. Marcus Smart last night in 20 minutes of basketball took no shots, took no 3-pointers, no free throws, grabbed no rebounds, blocked no shots, no steals, had 1 assist in 20 minutes of basketball. Almost the ultimate cardio line.
Yeah, that's a club trillion with 20 trillion there.
Yeah, didn't even get a foul.
Marcus Smart has no business playing in. I lost a lot of respect for Marcus. I'll be honest with you. I wanted him to be what KCP has shown to be so far, and that is a leader. I think he was more or less cashing a paycheck and did not want to be playing for Memphis, despite how much we loved and adored him.
Yeah.
He is not going to put forth any effort in preseason.
At all.
It's just not going to happen. I guarantee you, Jake Laravia had 8 rebounds and 6.5 fouls, and just the hustle stats for preseason.
His stat line wasn't a whole lot better, but again, he's their top preseason acquisition. So he's the one, or off-season acquisition. He's the one they're putting in. It wasn't terrible. 34 minutes. He had 8 points. He had 1 block, 3 assists, and 8 rebounds. So yeah, actually not bad. Not bad.
He's always the hustle guy, even in preseason. That's why I liked him as the 14th person on our team.
Yeah. But again, the Grizzlies go get a win tonight. It'll help Jalen. It'll help me. It'll help all Grizzlies fans. Take a deep breath as we head into the regular season starting next week. The Grizzlies play tonight.
We're going to call a Charlotte win a good win. I feel like this is a no-win situation.
No. I said a win, just a win. It
just
doesn't matter.
Win. Okay.
Just a win. Just go get a win. So the villagers will calm down. Otherwise, the villagers are starting to get unruly, Drew. They're starting to get unrested.
This happens. This happens as you get towards the season. We don't have anything to put our mind at ease, and that's the problem. Is once again, our superstars dealing with injuries, and so there's nothing so far that can put our mind at ease. That's the problem. So
couldn't agree more. You stopped right as I was drinking my coffee, but couldn't agree more.
I set you right up for it.
Yeah, I'm like, but so the Grizzlies played tonight against the Hornets, and I think it's fair to talk about the Memphis Grizzlies' second favorite team next year, and that will be the Phoenix Suns. And I mean that really tongue in cheek, because we're going to be actively rooting for the Suns, as I said earlier, to lose every single game, because the Memphis Grizzlies, as long as they don't get the first overall pick. If the Suns pick is the first overall pick, it goes to the Wizards. After that, it's our pick. So we're actively rooting for the Suns to be bad.
Don't we get the Wizards pick? If
we get the Wizards pick, if not, which would also be likely a top 15 pick. Yeah. The Wizards are. So if that's the case,
I'm a little rusty on that.
So if the Suns get the first overall pick, it goes to Washington, and then we would get Washington's first round pick, which has a better than 20% chance to be in the top 6. So that's also a really good pick. But right now on Tankathon, the lottery odds,
of them could be bad.
The lottery odds, as you see here on your screen, they're a 7.5% chance to be first overall, 7.8 for the second, 8.1 for the third, 8.5 for the fourth. They don't have any odds for 5 and 6. Most likely spot per Tankathon that the Suns are going to finish is the 8th pick at 34%.
Yeah.
Which at that point, Drew, and I don't know what we do with that pick. We'll get to that here in a minute. I do want to talk about what your thoughts are with the lottery picks. But back to the Phoenix Suns. On FanDuel, the over-under is set at 31.5 wins, plus 110 to go over, minus 134 to go under. So FanDuel expects them to be bad next year.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's not bad enough to get to be a slam dunk lottery team, though. I mean, lottery selection, because they only select the top 3 picks, so or 4 picks, and so if you want to have a slam dunk or the highest odds at a lottery pick, you need them to win like 20 games, not 31. So listen, I need to deep dive a little more into Phoenix. I'm curious to see what this looks like, because on the surface, they don't necessarily look like a team that is going to go 18-64. You've still got Book, and listen, my opinion on Book has changed, but there were times early in his career where he was good and it didn't reflect into winning. But, I like guys like Dylan Brooks when it comes to elevating a floor, because you know what you're going to get out of him. And then you look at Jalen Green, and he was traded away from Houston, but could very well be a young superstar. We've seen it firsthand where he can drop an easy 40 on you at any time. And the problem is just the consistency. He's going into, I believe Wayno, I'm sure will correct me, either his 3rd or his 4th NBA season. And so you think with experience, you become more consistent, because the top end scoring has always been there. You add a guy like I was high on with Kaman Malawach from Duke, who is a raw athletic center rim protector, and then is Grayson Allen's still at Phoenix.
Mm-hmm. He is.
He's still there, and his PR has probably never been better when it comes to like his role off of those Phoenix teams, just being a 3-point shooter.
Yeah, and here's the thing: like on a surface level, from a name value, yeah, I like a lot of the players the Suns have. I don't know how it fits. They're a very small basketball team. They're not a team that's going to bully people on the block and get rebounds. They're going to have to run and gun. And I think the worst thing that's happening to this team, because I'm going to sound like a Dillon Brooks hater with this, and I don't mean to, because I do like Dillon Brooks for his leadership, his attitude, his edge that he plays with. But like the worst thing that could happen to the Suns team is happening. The other night in the Brooklyn game, 2 games ago, he shot in 27 minutes. He took 18 field goals and 10 3-pointers to finish with 18 points. 28 shots to finish with 18 points. And so what's going to happen? And Art was in the Daily Grind comments this morning. Shout out to Art.
Wait.
And he's
10 of the 18 attempts were threes.
Sorry,
so
yes,
18 points on 18 attempts.
Yeah. So absolutely. Sorry. But Art this morning said, I like Dillon Brooks. He's a winner. And like from an attitude and an edge standpoint,
I tend to believe that. Yeah.
Sure. But he's a shot chucker of all shot chuckers. Drew, you and I have sat there and watched him shoot us out of series and ball games. And what's going to happen is if he has a really good preseason, Dillon Brooks is going to go back to shot chucking Dillon Brooks on a team with Devin Booker and Jalen Green, who can actually fill it up on a night in and night out basis. And it's going to create some chaos. So for that, I kind of hope Dillon keeps shooting 18, 20 times a night, leading to more losses for Phoenix.
I just can't help but think that Dillon, because he didn't do that really with Houston, where he was just a shot chucker. His thing with, I was cool with living with Dillon Brooks taking more shots than what he did. It's just when you were taking those shots, it doesn't need to be late in the fourth quarter, and it doesn't need to be, not wide open, And Dillon Brooks is a solid NBA vet now, and you would hope, if you're a Dillon Brooks fan, is that he becomes less of a shot chucker and more of the defensive mindset KCP guy, where you're just a spot up on the corner shooting threes, and you're playing. Your main role in this team is the lead defender on the best scorer they've got. He can be that. Now, he's got to choose to be that, but you see that in spurts. I think this Phoenix team, if you look at the teams that have been at the top of the lottery odds for the last 5 years, this doesn't look like one of those teams. They could punt and set Booker down, and then I would change my mind on it. But you look at that Washington team or Utah, like those teams do not look like this Phoenix team does.
No, agreed. And the one thing that also, and King Minks, their head coach is Jordan Ott. But the other thing that makes me nervous about this Phoenix team is relying on 2 former Charlotte centers to make the connection to the Grizz game tonight, neither of which have a propensity to stay healthy. And so I still am mind blown that they traded Mark Williams 30 seconds before they drafted Kaman Malawach. So now you've got a rookie, and then you've got 2 bigs who are notoriously not healthy. Now, Mark Williams and Nick Richards, when healthy, can be contributing guys. Like they get boards. Like Mark Williams averaged 15 and 10 last year, but he only played 44 games out of 82.
Desmond Bain threw a basketball off that dude's face. I'm sorry. Yeah. Nick Richards can go.
Yeah. Well, Nick Richards played in 57 games, averaging 9 and 8 last year. But yes, he did take a basketball to the dome. But again, the idea and the product of Mark Williams, like the idea of Mark Williams is good, but the product is he can't stay healthy. And so they're going to have they're going to be thin in the front court, much like Memphis, with an inability of their 2 big centers to stay healthy.
Yeah, we will absolutely, as the basketball season starts and continues through fruition here, we will keep tabs on Washington and Phoenix on this show.
Yeah, this is going to be a Memphis Grizzlies / Phoenix Suns show as we talk about Let's
talk about this real quick. I think this is fair, and there's probably the biggest point in the Phoenix is not going to be good column. If you believe that, I think this is the reason why. Yeah, is because I believe that Phoenix fans hate this team, and I believe that you do have an absolute culture thing. They went to the NBA Finals, and you threw it all away for Kevin Durant, and it didn't work. And then you threw away Kevin Durant for Jalen Green and a youth movement. There's just no Nothing good has happened to this team, and since the owner bought that team.
Yeah, and so it's a tale of two different teams, right? Because like you look at the teams at the top of the lottery, the Jazz, the Wizards, the Nets, the Hornets, they're perennial losers. They're always trying to tank to get these players who come in. They don't have people around who know how to win, so you get the best player, but then you can't do anything with them, right? Phoenix, Wayno, we have a term here in the South, and it's called like tinkering or fiddling. Like you just always tinkering with it, right? You can never like just leave well enough alone, and that's the Suns' problem. They've had the players, they've had the coaches, they've had the fits, but they couldn't not tinker with it and fiddle with their roster and their rotation, Drew. They were literally one player away in that NBA Finals where they lost to Giannis and the Bucks, and they scrapped the whole thing and tried to move heaven and earth to get Bradley Beal and this whole thing go, and it just didn't work. And so it's two different issues.
They weren't one player away. They were up 2-0 in that series and lost 4 straight.
But like they could have, like they still needed like one more scorer beside Kevin Durant. They thought they went got in Bradley Beal, and it completely wrecked the culture. And so it's two different issues, right? Again, it's teams that
they didn't have Kevin Durant on that team.
That's right.
No, because they traded Cam Johnson for Kevin Durant.
Right,
yeah,
after the finals. That's right. That's not Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant. Thank you.
Yeah,
but like they're a perfect example of doing too much and trying to you're out over your skis, as one might say.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk some college football.
Last thing before college football, on the Tankathon, the Memphis Grizzlies do have an 86% chance at the 12th pick in the lottery for what that's worth. We have a 1% at 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, and 3, a 2% for the 4, and they put us at a 12% or 86% chance to be the 12th lottery team. So there's
what kind of simulations do you have to run before an 82-game season to say with almost 90% certainty you will be the 12th pick in a lottery? Like, do they not know how lotteries work?
They've got Miami at, it's because Adam Silver rigs it. But you got Miami at a 65% chance for the 10th pick. The Pacers, 92% at the 13th pick, and the Spurs, a 97% chance.
I'll put it to you this way. There is an 86% chance that the Grizzlies are not the number 12 pick in the draft. Mm-hmm. That's how uncertain a lottery is.
FanDuel, put them odds up, and I'll take the field.
Put my mortgage
all day.
On that.
I'll put the mortgage on the field on. And
that's not even me saying the Grizzlies are going to be good. It's the fact saying there's 30 teams selecting. There's 14 teams in a lottery, and you're going to give me an 86% chance at one outcome? No,
brother, absolutely not. But as Drew said, we are a college football show after all, and on the other side of the commercial break, we got a lot of college football to talk.
It's a great day, brother. It's a great day. We woke up this morning. We were able to get out of bed, which is more than I think we can say for LeBron James. Look, let me preface this. LeBron James, 40-year-old athlete, the man, like, I get it. I will never even get to a monicum of his physical ability peak. I will never get there. However, when I saw that he's going to be reevaluated in 4 weeks for sciatica, the first thing that went through my head was, man, this dude is old. I was like, he's human, like us. He can, if he can bleed, if his
body's like, hey, if he's not going to retire, I'm going to try to take him out with him.
Tune into the Daily Grind with your host, Luke Hatmaker, every Monday through Friday at 7:30 a.m. live on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. In the heart of the Highland Strip for 27 years, Trilogy Tattoo has helped tell stories for Memphians for generations. Located at 530 South Highland, Richie and his team are waiting to help you tell yours.
From tattoos to piercings, your body art should be as unique as you are. Voted a Memphis Flyer top 3 tattoo shop in the city of Memphis since day one. Your story will be safe here at Trilogy Tattoo.
Open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 11 to 11, and 3 to 11 on Sundays. They have convenient times waiting on you. Let Trilogy Tattoo help you tell your story.
Welcome back to the $2 Sports Show Wednesday edition of the show. We have talked Halloween, Christmas, NBA, and now we're going to talk about college football. And so lots to talk about. I missed the show yesterday. We had a lot of stuff that we were going to queue up, talk about some hot seat stuff. But today is our other segment, which is the bear and bull market, which totally slipped my mind for just a half a second there.
I saw that like kind of blank look, and you were like,
bear and bull market.
Yeah. But college football is the best sport on the face of this planet. Argue with a wall. And Drew and I will be talking about it this weekend at Grind City Brewing. One of our great partners. We love Grind City and what they do for us. They're going to have college football on the projector this weekend at 11 a.m. LSU Vandy, 2:30 Ole Miss in Georgia, 6:30 the third Saturday in October rivalry at Tennessee at Alabama. And Drew and I will be live at 1:30 on Saturday, talking the morning games, getting you prepped for Ole Miss, Georgia, Tennessee, Bama, Mississippi State, Florida. Drew, it's a jam-packed weekend of college football. There's nowhere else I'd rather be than Grind City Brewing, chopping it up with you, talking about football. Super stoked about that this weekend.
Yeah, I'm stoked that y'all are actually going to have Ole Miss on the TV for once. So
the people
much like television, Grind City Brewing Company refuses to respect Ole Miss football.
Zach, you heard it. You made him happy, and then he gives you a backhanded compliment, tongue-in-cheek, Uncle Buck.
But this is the exception that proves the rule. So it shows you that you are capable of it. You've just chosen not to, inexplicably, for the whole season. You put Mississippi State and Tennessee on a TV over Ole Miss and LSU. I mean,
another reason why I like Grind City Brewing. But on Wednesdays, we give you our bull and our bear market. Our bull market is the teams or things or ideas that we're buying stock in, and the bear are the ones we're selling them. We're going to start with our bull market because we like to start with the positives first around here. So, Drew, I'll let you go first. You got Texas A&M at the top of your bull market.
Yeah, I've kind of been back and forth on Texas A&M all year, and that's because of preconceived notions of Texas A&M. I've told everybody we need to forgive Texas A&M for the sins of Jimbo Fisher. Mike Elko is not Jimbo Fisher, and then I've just kind of seen them struggle at times. You know, there was a rock fight with Auburn, and then they just went out Saturday against who'd they play? Who was that game against? Florida, who had just beaten up Texas really good at home. Thought they may be turning it around. And, I mean, they just put their foot on their throats and dominated that game in Kyle Field. I think that this is a really, really good Texas A&M team. And they are – what they do against bad teams or mid teams like A&M, like Florida, like Mississippi State, like Auburn so far this year, is they just make it ugly for them. And what you saw last week is that they made it ugly for Florida, and then they also flexed offensively against a really, really good defense. I think, what was the score of that game? Do you remember, like 31-10?
Yeah. 31-17, something like that.
That's more points than anybody scored on Florida all year, and they've taken plenty of losses. They gave LSU gave them the ball 5 times in Baton Rouge, and LSU only mustered 20 points in the game. And so I was really impressed with Texas A&M.
Yeah, I'm bullish on Texas A&M as well. I think they have a super high floor, but their ceiling is what concerns me. I like A&M. They got a ton of weapons. Their defense is elite. Marcel Reed tends to be a bit inconsistent, but brother, when he is on, like, that dude is one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC.
Look at their schedule. I've got it in front of me. They go to Fayetteville this week. They go to Baton Rouge next week, a bye week, at Missouri, South Carolina, Samford, and Texas to close out the season. That's not necessarily an easy schedule, but as far as SEC schedule is confirmed, I don't know that there's a single game on this calendar left that they will not enter favored in.
Agreed. And as I was saying, like, Marcel Reed is going to be the fulcrum for this team. If he can find a way to stay consistent, like, they can very easily finish undefeated, play for an SEC championship, something Jimbo Fisher never could do, and Mike Elko is going to be doing in year 2. And but Marcel Reed, when on, is an electric quarterback, but he can beat you with his legs. He's got a ton. Like, they've got 2 of the fastest receivers I think I've seen playing college football in a long time. In KC Concepcion and Mario Craver. I am bullish on A&M as well, but I'm curious to see Marcel Reed's continued development. And if he can stay consistent, you're right. That's not a cakewalk, but that's a schedule that you can win out and finish a undefeated in the SEC.
Well, and I've been somewhat critical of him as well. Although, if you just think back to that Notre Dame game in Week 3, he did drive the team down and throw a game-winning touchdown with virtually no time left. He's got some stones, and
like I said,
the footwork's weird. It doesn't look good, and I think that's what holds me back. But sometimes it just works, and
unconventional works, man. Like it just works sometimes. And like I said, I'm not knocking. I like Marcel Reed a lot. That was when he was on, and I've seen him have a really bad first half against Mississippi State, turn it on in the second half. But like if he can be consistent and play 4 quarters of football every Saturday, A&M is going to be fine.
I think they are an absolute lock to be in the SEC championship game because I think that every single team is going to take at least one loss this year. Georgia, Alabama Georgia, Alabama, Texas, Oklahoma. All these teams have already taken one. Ole Miss does. The only undefeated teams are Ole Miss, A&M, and
that's it. And Alabama are 3-0 in the conference. They're 3-0 in conference.
And Alabama, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
All of them. Ole Miss goes to Georgia this week. Then they go to Norman, Oklahoma next weekend. Alabama and Texas A&M are the only 2 schools that I can think can run the table.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think that there's losses coming, and Texas A&M may be the only one that doesn't. Because of the schedule.
There's a world where we have like 3 teams tied with 1 SEC loss to finish the season, and chaos.
Yeah, there is a path to having 4 6-2 teams, and then you just figure it out.
Yeah, then we have a playoff for the SEC championship.
Right.
Do it like a high school jamboree style, where you play a half against each team, and then the winners play a full game at the end for the SEC championship.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be fun.
That'd be awesome.
Just extend the playoff. This is how you extend the playoff: is you have a conference tournament, like the SEC basketball tournament.
Yeah, I love it. My first one is very tongue-in-cheek. I am bullish on SEC coaches' clapping techniques. A few years we're not that so far removed from Les Miles loving to watch his hands as he claps like this and clapping right in front of his face all the time. The other night, as Kirby Smart was calling out the Auburn player for clapping on defense, he clapped like this. Now, yes, he was calling a timeout, but he was doing it to try and get the attention of the Auburn player clapping. The timeout wasn't awarded, which I found interesting, but he was running down the sideline and said, he's clapping while calling a timeout. So I'm bullish. Hey, listen, however you need to clap.
That was muscle memory.
Clap, that's what it was.
It's muscle memory. You're running at referees all the time getting a timeout. Mm-hmm. So when he's thinking he's clapping, that's muscle memory. But muscle memory was actually this.
Yes.
So listen,
he's clapping. Like, I get what he's saying.
That was a sales job, is what that was.
100%,
and the SEC officials lost control of that game. They let Kirby talk them into it. And coaches are salesmen. Recruiters are salesmen. They do this really well. That's why they have all these players, especially pre-NIL. He sold that official that had no backbone that he was not clapping. That he was not calling a timeout, but that he was clapping. And then after a 15-minute stoppage, they let him talk him into it. It was listen, there's no love lost for me for Auburn, Hugh Freeze. You can't. A touch of me is starting to feel bad because they are getting hosed by officials every single game.
3 weeks in a row.
And to go to my next one, if Auburn gets beat by Missouri, it's very real possibility that Hugh Freeze gets fired. Hugh Freeze's agent is the same as every agent for every successful, semi-successful college football coach, and it's Jimmy Sexton. And it is Jimmy Sexton season right now. CAA Sports and Jimmy Sexton. You would think that at some point these universities would quit agreeing to these outrageous coaches' buyouts, but Jimmy Sexton refuses to have one of his coaches not get taken care of in the instance that they turn out to suck. And that's what you've seen.
You know where Jimmy
Memphis,
Sexton's
Tennessee.
From? Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah,
ECS
that's
grad.
where I think that's where he lives, right? He
lives
still
in Memphis.
resides in Memphis.
Big Memphis guy. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Like, and then he gets a percentage of all these buyouts as well. Jimmy Sexton, man, like he runs
Rolling
the
in
college
it.
football world. Absolutely, man.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Universities have to, the pendulum has to swing back. I mean, how many times in the last 3 years have we got on here and talked about these erroneous amounts of money that are being paid to fire a football coach? And James Franklin's been there for 12 years. He's a really solid football coach. And yet they fire him for $50 million.
Yeah.
Jimbo Fisher got fired and was owed $70 million. We're talking about Mike Norvell getting fired. He's owed more than James Franklin's buyout if they want to fire him. Hugh Freeze is a Sexton guy. I don't know what his buyout is, but it's going to be a lot. I mean, you've got to quit signing these coaches to these contracts.
What they've done is they put in a clause to where the coach has to actively be looking for a job, and if you get the job, they'll pay the difference. Well, Drew, like, you can actively be looking for a job where you literally pull up a browser and go, nah, I don't want to coach at UAB. And then you're done.
He's like, let me check LinkedIn today and see who's looking for a college football coach. Like,
that's it.
Nobody, but hey, I looked. Yeah.
I'm going to go play golf. That's exactly right. There's got to be something in there, because with that, like, it's funny because I've seen that. My cousin Jim threw it up in the group chat the other day. Like, I've seen it on X, and it's just funny that people think that's a real serious clause that coaches are going to take serious. And like, I'm going to go interview for a dozen, FBS jobs next year. No, I'm going to call Temple and say, hey, y'all are, I'm good. I'm going to call Florida and say, nah, I'm good. But like, I'm not actively trying to get a job. I'm going to play golf for $49 million.
Well, I am a big proponent of players win. Now, college football and football in general is probably the one that the coach has the most control over. However, you are getting into an era in which it's pay for play. At some point, some of these schools are going to be like, you know what, our infrastructure is good enough. We trust our donors enough to where we're not going to hamstring ourselves to woo back a coach that is threatening to leave. And so what happened with Mark Stoops when he floated out his name at Texas A&M? They signed him to an outrageous contract with an outrageous buyout, and they're going to quit doing that. They're going to say, either you come back or you leave. I don't care. The money is here. The pot's here. The facilitators of the NIL and the boosters and all that, it's staying. So whoever we come with, we can still get the players, because it's not about that coach relationship with the player's mama. Anymore. That's not it anymore. It's who can supply the biggest bag. And so we'll go get the players and help out the next coach.
That's it. Exactly right. And so my last bull market is Mississippi State related. I'm a big fan of bye weeks. We got healthy on the bye week. We head to Florida. It's a 9.5-point game. We're their homecoming. It's an afternoon game, which, the Swamp is not quite as daunting in the afternoon as it is not at night, which we'll get to here in a minute. But yeah, I'm a big fan of bye weeks coming at the right time. Miami had it scheduled right. They had a bye week before and after their big game with Florida State, so they can get ready for Florida State. Now they can get rested for the rest of their season. I'm a big fan of bye weeks falling at the right time, and it just happened to fall at the right time for Mississippi State this year, as we needed to get healthy before we start the gauntlet. It's the back half of our season where we have to play Florida, Texas, at Arkansas, Georgia, Missouri, and Ole Miss to wrap up the season. So big time bye week at the right time.
Yeah, y'all have got you guys and us have 5-game stretches. Actually, Ole Miss has got a 5-game stretch and then a 6-game stretch. You've got a 6-game stretch and then a 5-game stretch, because we both take a bye week before the Egg Bowl.
Exactly.
Which is just well-timed bye weeks are great. I'm
brilliant.
You did not, in my opinion, have the greatest bye week because it's off of a loss. Ole Miss beat LSU and got a bye week, and that was perfect. I mean, you're talking about, like, we talk about not, like, losing an 11 a.m. game spoils the whole Saturday. Like, losing and then going on a bye week just doesn't ever sit really well with me. Yeah. But
agreed. But when that bye week, when you're starting left and right tackle, and then your quarterback and defense are hurt, that's why the bye week came at the right time, because we're getting Albert Reese back at right tackle. We're probably getting Isaac Smith back on defense. We'll see about Shelby at left tackle, but it felt like a good time for us to go get healthy.
Yeah.
But what goes up must come down. And for us, we might as well start with it. We both have the same thing as our first one. For me, it's the disparity that is SEC night games. Drew, Mississippi State played a night game, one conference night game, from the 2024, last year was the first time since 2004, 20 consecutive years of at least one nighttime conference game. Last year we didn't get one, and with the announcement of Texas being a 2:30 or 3:15, we're not getting one this year because Georgia and Ole Miss are already locked in at 11 a.m. Highly unlikely that game at Missouri, unless we somehow come in after upsetting. Like if we went out to Missouri, maybe we'll get a primetime ABC coming in, having upset Florida, Texas, and Georgia. But it doesn't feel like we're going to get another one. And I saw this stat.
That Missouri game may be a night game because they do not. So how this works for everybody, this is not an edict passed down from the SEC office, but the networks choose their games.
Absolutely.
ESPN has first priority. They're going to pick whatever game they want first is going to go at 6:30 on Saturday night. And then they're going to pick the 2:30 game. And then it'll be a lot of times the 11 a.m. game is the third best game because they want a good game coming out of game day to keep the attention on ESPN. And then like the last games picked, a lot of times is that 6 o'clock SEC network game.
SEC network.
Yeah.
You'll have games on ESPN, ABC, ESPN, ESPN2, and SEC network all kick off between 6 and 7 p.m. And it just seems like you're right. Like, yes, there is not like a SEC-wide bias, but I want to throw this up for just everybody to see that there is a bias towards certain teams. Now, you can make an argument that LSU is perennially one of the best teams in the SEC, and they're consistently playing in big-time games. But over the last 5 seasons, 83% of their home games have been night games. And that's a known thing. Like, nighttime in Death Valley is a real thing. I was a bit shocked that Alabama only had 49% of their home games being night. But then you look down at our schools that we root for. Mississippi State only has had 42% of their home games at night. Only one so far this year, and that was the Arizona State game earlier in the year. And it's a bummer, Drew, because we spent millions of dollars to finally get with the program and update our lights to LED lights so we can do the light shows like everybody else. And we've had exactly one home conference game or one home game at night this year.
Yeah. So you look at this and it's like, obviously LSU, there's this lore around Tiger Stadium at night, which is just aggravates the piss out of me, if I'm being honest with you. Like, yes, it's a good environment, but LSU, outside of Joe Burrow, has been extremely mid. I mean, you had the Heisman Trophy winner go 8-4 the year that he won the Heisman Trophy. And so, like, I just don't like it, and I'm not asking for equality by any means, but if I look at this from an Ole Miss perspective, Ole Miss is 24-2 in their last 26 home games. It is an absolutely murderous place to come play lately. Lane defends Vaught Hemingway Stadium extremely well. And you see that Ole Miss seems to be around middle of the pack when it comes to percentage of night home games. My problem is the games in which you choose to be the night games. Ole Miss has been a top 15 team for the last 4 years. And you have hosted Alabama and Georgia and LSU and all of these other arguably peers over this stretch, and none of them have been at night. I'll look back to in 2020. I'll just go back to 2023. Ole Miss played at home to South Carolina. They played at home to Florida. And then they played, that's not even, all right, 2022, that's what I meant to do. So, home SEC games, Kentucky, 11 a.m., Auburn, 11 a.m., Alabama, 2:30, Mississippi State, 6 o'clock. That was the only SEC night game was the Egg Bowl. And that's because it's a prime time. I think it was on Thanksgiving, or
it was the day
Thanksgiving
after
that year.
Yeah.
You go back, because ChatGPT couldn't pull 2023 for some reason. Last year in 2024, Ole Miss goes 10-2 or 9-3, and you have a home game against Kentucky, which was at 11 o'clock. Home game against Oklahoma, which was at noon. A home game against Georgia, which was at 2:30, and a home game against Mississippi State, which is at 2:30. So where are the good SEC night games? They're just not there, and I feel like that's this is not an argument for television watchers. This is an argument for game attenders here. There's no doubt that with the money that is spent, with the extravagant stuff that Ole Miss is doing with the light shows, the drone shows, the in-game experience, it is at its peak at night games, and you're doing the fans are not getting their bang for their buck, but all of these critical games that are determining playoff appearances, they're being played during the daytime. Like,
meanwhile,
you're not getting the bang for your buck.
Agreed. And that's why, like, South Carolina is known as a good environment because they get 54% of their home games are at night, and they can showcase their LED and what they do. Meanwhile, Kentucky, a perennial terrible team, is 53% of their home games are at night. It feels like every time Mississippi State goes up there, we play them at night. And there is for whatever reason, whether it's fan engagement, like you talked about, the environment being better, whatever the case is, there is a stark advantage for hosting a big-time game at home at night. Like, I'm going in 2 weeks. I'm going next weekend to the Texas game. And we were hoping and praying it was going to be a 6 o'clock or a 6:30 kick, because that kind of atmosphere that we had against Arizona State would help us against Arch Manning and a struggling Texas offense. Now it's at 2:30 or 3 o'clock, which is fine, I guess. But, like, just that nighttime venue, you can truly appreciate what your program, like you said, is doing in fan experience. And then when the fan experience is better, the crowd energy is better. And that's a real thing in college football, and why it's so important to defend home field and have these games, and why we go up in arms when they're sending college football games to London, where you miss out on that experience that is a college game day atmosphere on your school campus.
Yeah. So, and this is just an Ole Miss quality of play problem. This has nothing to do with it. But last year, Ole Miss lost 3 games, 2 of which were at home. I'm sorry. One of which was at home at 11 o'clock, and was on the road at 11 o'clock. We just played Washington State at home at 11 o'clock. For some reason, Lane can't get the guys engaged early. There's something about the lead up to the game that you're just not getting the same juice out of the team at 11 o'clock, and that's a Lane problem. You've got to fix that. But just for the fans, like, I'm not saying you've got to have every SEC team is owed a primetime night game at home. That's not what I'm saying. But for Ole Miss's case, like, you've been a top 15 team hosting other top 10, top 5 teams, and you can't even get those at home. Like, you're not getting the peak experience from Ole Miss home games.
Nope.
We shared that. That was a shared beef. We went about it, called it 2 different things, but it was the same thing. I'll be quick here. I'm getting very bullish is a term. Is bearish a term? Bearish.
I think so. I'm getting bearish
on Trinidad. Like, he was not good against LSU, in my opinion, and he was not good against Washington State. And what you're seeing out of Trinidad Chambliss is that he's really good at certain aspects of the game, but unfortunately, the aspect that he struggles with the most is standing in the pocket and throwing the football. Like, he needs to be off time. He needs to be outside the pocket, able to use his legs and whatnot. And when you're going up against Georgia, I know this is going to sound sacrilegious when I say it, Georgia's pass rush is not good this year.
They're not. They're one of the worst teams at sacking the quarterback. It's a thing.
Trinidad Chambliss is probably going to have an opportunity to stand in the pocket and make throws, in which he's not very good at making. I've said it on this show, and listen, you don't have a big sample size of Austin Simmons. He's coming off of an injury. You don't really know what you're going to get out of him, although I still believe in him as a player. And you don't really want to throw him in there on the road at Georgia, I don't guess. It's not a good spot for it. But if Trinidad Chambliss is going to be allowed to stand in the pocket and throw the football, I don't like our chances.
Yeah.
All of the big plays, Lane is known for making big plays in the passing game. That's what he's always had. With Corral and with Dart, it's deep, downfield stuff, big plays. The slogan one year was score from far. You can't do that because he can't throw his guys open downfield. He can't. The ball just kind of hangs up in the air. You know, I talked about Garrett Nussmeier. looking like he doesn't have the arm strength, whether it be because of an lower leg injury or a shoulder injury, whatever it was. It was winding up and throwing the ball, and it was just kind of hanging up to him, wasn't a lot of zip on it. That's what Trinidad looks like. You've got guys, there were guys in that Washington State game where you have you're coming up the seam, you have no help on the weak side, and all you've got to do is throw it past the guy to the wide side of the field, but he was missing to the short side of the field on a deep ball, and it was like, dude, if you just can get it out that way, like this is an easy touchdown. But instead, he cannot place a deep ball very well. And I feel like to excel in a Kiffin offense, you've got to be able to sling the football. And Trinidad's not doing it. He does have obvious pros in some aspects of this game. You know, he's able to get off rhythm. He's able to he's a physical runner as well as a good scrambler. But at some point, you got to trust your quarterback to be able to stand in the pocket and throw the football. And he's just not checking that box for me.
No. And I'll be quick. My last one is quiet quitting by these schools, right? Like, you know what quiet quitting is? Where, like, you don't want to break up with the girl or the guy. You don't want to leave your job. So you just kind of, like, pull back. And instead of being a man and just
steal money.
Yeah, that's it, right? Or you don't break up with somebody because you don't want to hurt their feelings. So you just sit in the relationship and just allow it to just kind of fall apart. That's what Florida's doing. That's what Auburn's doing. That's what South Carolina feels like they're doing. Like to a degree, South Carolina, maybe even Kentucky, even though that Mark Stoops buyout is massive.
Full on quitting. Yeah.
But like at least Penn State, like you kind of heard rumblings and then it happened, right? Like they're talking about like USA Today an hour ago reported an article on USA Today said that Scott Strickland met with a handful of influential boosters on Tuesday and was told continuing financial support depends on a new direction within the football program. So he's going to get fired this weekend one way or the other. And so it's like, go ahead and do it. Be a man. If you've got somebody like, if it's truly a lame duck, just pull the plug. Because from Florida fans reading this, and it is what it is, Mississippi State does have a less talented roster as right now. We're better than we were last year, but we're on the come up. You got a soft landing for Florida this weekend, right? You're playing Mississippi State. Obviously, G.J. Lagway was disappointed with the play calling last week. If lip readers were going nuts with some of the things he was saying on the sideline. But you got Mississippi State before a bye week and then Georgia. And so, like, if you already know you're going to pull the plug, let an interim coach, maybe gives you some juice to win the game this weekend. Because if Mississippi State goes out and beats Florida this weekend, which I really think we can, and he gets croomed like Ron Zook did many years ago, like all it's going to do is just going to be that much more disappointment by the fan base and that much more just vitriol from the fan base heading into the bye week versus you get an interim coach, maybe they get some juice and they win the game. You go into the bye week with a win, and then anything can happen in a rivalry game against Georgia with an interim coaching staff. I just think like if you're gonna leak it that you're gonna fire somebody this weekend, go ahead and do it. Like just be done with it.
I agree with that. Well, we've talked about the hardships of firing a coach with buyouts and stuff like that. I don't think Billy Napier's got an outrageous, not by James Franklin standards or Jimbo Fisher. Anybody named James Franklin or Jimbo, which I'm sure is short for James, massive buyouts. Listen, I'll support your point by giving you an example.
It's a $21 million buyout with 50% due within 30 days of termination and the remaining amount paid in equal annual installments over 4 years. It would be $10.7 million in 30 days and then $2.7 million on July 5th for the next 4 years.
That's nothing in college football right now.
No.
Let me give you an example supporting your decision. There were rumblings that Arkansas was going to fire Sam Pittman last year, and they didn't. For one reason or another, a lot of people thought they may be trying to hold, they needed to hold some buyout money so they go get Calipari or, something with baseball. Like they got cheap. Well, what happened is last year, if you would have fired Sam Pittman, who were you competing with for coaches in the SEC? Who fired their coach last year in the SEC? Nobody, right? Am I forgetting somebody? Nobody fired an SEC coach. You would have been the only SEC job open last year. So what you did, you punted and knowing you kind of wanted to fire him anyways, but you punted. And this year, what jobs are open? Penn State's already open, and Florida's likely going to be open. Arkansas, obviously, you're open. Auburn's looking like it may be open. South Carolina may be open.
And then
how do you rank yourself?
There's always a wild card, right? Maybe it's LSU, like I said, Brian Kelly leaving. Like, there's always a wild card.
What if we play it out? What if Lane Kiffin takes the Penn State job? Well, then you've got another SEC job open, an SEC job that's proven that you can win there. Mm-hmm. Something that Arkansas has not been able to prove in this era of football. So where do you rank Arkansas? Where do you rank Arkansas there?
And to your point with Arkansas yesterday, like we talked, I think it was on Monday we talked about it. Like, if you're going to have the NIL money, why are you saying, look, Sam Pittman's going, now we've got $30 million. Where's the $30 million for Sam Pittman? Like, that, to me, if I'm a coach, that's a red flag that it's like, oh, you could have gotten this, but you chose not to. That's a massive
So you're telling me you've got a nest egg over here to pay my buyout, but you're not going to pay my players. Like, it's
a red flag.
If you're going to fire, if you've made up your mind that this just isn't going to work, then that is the decision. This is like marrying somebody. If there's an ounce of doubt in your mind at all, don't do it. If there's an ounce of doubt that this guy ain't your guy, and you've got this, you're asking for this much money from this many people, and you don't think it's going to work out, buddy, flush it.
That's it. That's it. And so quiet quitting, like, Arkansas is going to be a great example. Jared, shout out to you, sir, in Nashville. Like, it's a great example of what happens to, like, if you wait, like, if you keep waiting, now you've got a ton of mouths you're competing against. Arkansas would have been a premier job last offseason for somebody to take because it's an entry-level SEC job with deep pockets because of Walmart, JB Hunt,
Tyson Foods,
Tyson Chicken, like those three of the biggest industry leaders in America.
Money
Walmart, JB Hunt in logistics, Tyson Chicken, like there's money there. That would have been a premier job. Now you're like second or third best job in the SEC at best. That's going to be open because people are going to want Florida before Arkansas. You're probably on par with Auburn, maybe slightly ahead of South Carolina.
No, you're behind Auburn, and you're probably behind South Carolina now.
Maybe right now, maybe.
Here's a thought, and you're going to take this as an insult, but I think your team and Arkansas are the most obvious candidates for this. It is becoming extremely expensive to operate in all three sports. Who do you think is the first team, and put Kentucky into this, who do you think the first team is to punt on football and indulge all of your money in, say, college baseball if you're Mississippi State or Arkansas, or basketball if you're Kentucky or Arkansas? Arkansas's got Calipari now. They're all in. Dave Van Horn's been there for 20 years. They're in College World Series every year. Mississippi State's got a title. Their basketball team's pretty good. Kentucky is a blue-blooded basketball. At what point do you say, you know what, football used to get 66.7% of our budget. We're going to bump it down to 50 and invest that in baseball?
I don't know that that's happening. I don't think that's happening. Because football is the moneymaker. We're just state's a bit behind. We got behind because Mike Leach passed away. Yeah. And so, I don't know that that's necessarily a fair argument for a lot of them. Maybe at Kentucky because they are a blue blood basketball program. But then there are programs that can manage it. And yes, their pockets are deeper in Alabama, but Alabama and Auburn are juggling being good across multiple sports. I just think Mississippi State, particularly, and Arkansas for that matter, have gotten behind in football because of the poor choices in Arkansas. They're still recovering from Chad Morris and then going into the Sam Pittman era that never really could quite work out. And then our coach died. Like that set us back tremendously.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about, I think there's limited funds at places like Mississippi State and Kentucky.
I don't think so, especially when we're getting investments from Google like we did a couple years ago. Like there's money
but
there.
Then that player
got to get the right people to go get it, which was silly. But like there's money there that you just got to go get. But you brought up James Franklin. You brought up Dave Van Horn. I was thinking about this. I saw this debate as we're coming up on hour 10. I know you probably got to go. I got to go too. But is Dave Van Horn the James Franklin of college baseball? Always like you're good, you win your regular season good, but when you get to the postseason, you kind of crap out. You can't really beat the best teams in the country. There was a debate going around who is the James Franklin of college baseball coaches, and he was the first one that came.
It was Mike Bianco for a long time.
It was Mike Bianco for a long time.
It's Mike Bianco. I'll say it. And which may be a reason why you don't fire James Franklin, because you just keep punching to that ceiling. Eventually, the glass has got to break, right?
Eventually, right?
Yeah. Listen, if you want to set that question up, to me, the most obvious response in that situation is you never fire James Franklin. Like, are you unhappy with Dave Van Horn, Arkansas fans? Are you thinking you're going to fire Dave Van Horn if he doesn't win a title this year? No.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
there is
not.
a real, tangible quality of having a team that is really good.
Consistently.
You could be Kentucky. Like, there is a con to try. What are the odds? What one coach?
Arkansas fans are frustrated by getting to the college playoffs and the College World Series and not winning it. But I guarantee, as my co-host would say, that they're happy that they're getting there versus scrapping it, starting over, and winning, going 6 and 26 in the SEC.
I sympathize with Penn State fans. I was there. We were going to fire Mike Bianco again. Like, we went through this several times.
2 or 3 years in a row.
Yeah, and what happened is you broke through, and then you're like, this guy is – we're going to put a statue up of this guy, and there is going to be no scandal that takes it down. Like, that's what James Franklin could have been there. And what are the odds you find somebody, inject him into this program, and you have more success? How many times has that happened? I can think of one.
Yeah.
I can think of firing Mark Richt, who was 9-3 every year. And you got Kirby, and he took the roof off. Has that ever happened before?
No, because you think about it, like
Dan Lanning, maybe, but that Oregon team went down before Dan Lanning took over.
And Nick Saban left. Les Miles won a championship with Nick Saban's players and couldn't recover. So like that one comes kind of close, but it didn't work that way. And so like,
if that's the case, Ed Ogeron fits that too.
I mean, Matt Rule is 2-22 against ranked teams. Like, you can go get these guys who win, but like to win at a level like James Franklin did is really, really difficult. But I didn't mean to get us going. We're almost at an hour and 15. These shows just keep getting longer, and it is what it is. But we appreciate y'all hanging with us here on this Wednesday. Tomorrow, you're going to get our Grizz polls along with college football playoff championship percentage. That's it. Pause. The Grizz poll of all things. Pause. And anyway, so tomorrow we'll talk a little bit of NBA. We'll recap the game from tonight. But y'all come hang with us. Thanks for being in the comments. We love y'all. Love y'all hanging with us. If you're still here listening to our college football buffoonery and nonsense, thank you. We appreciate it. But in the meantime, until tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central, go be a friend to somebody who needs a friend. And Drew, tell them why there are no refunds.
That's right, because with the $2, you always get what you pay for. Have a good day, everybody. Go Grizz. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to the $2 Sports Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. We'll see you back here next time.